sir, what should we call this newfound land? Perfect. Don't spend another minute thinking about it. Eventually, I got to the bottom of it. They take crushed up sea cucumber to improve erections. Sleep under a quilt made by Nan.
The toilet has a remote?
Have a poop in the toilet made by NASA. When you grow up in a small town in Newfoundland, you see the people have a sense of humor about hard times. Check. I turned that into a career and hit the road.
Mr. Jonny Harris!
Now I'm on a mission to find the funny in the places you least expect it. Canada's struggling small towns. Towns that are against the ropes, but hanging in there. Still laughing in the face of adversity.
This is Fogo Island, Newfoundland and Labrador.
An island off the edge of a continent. Isolated for hundreds of years, self-reliant in the most extreme conditions. I got to Fogo, as all people do, on the ferry.
The ferry is like our Trans-Canada Highway. We get lumber brought over for wood stoves, our groceries, obviously, supplies. There's been many stories of people being stranded on the boat overnight, being stuck in the ice.
Folks, I don't know how to tell the rest of Canada in such a way that they will believe me.
There's been some times where you'll see caribou swimming next to the boat.
No.
Yeah.
That sometimes your ferry has to swerve to avoid caribou.
Maybe they got sick of lining up for the ferry.
Could be, yeah.
Shag this, we're swimming.
Yeah.
Here we are on Fogo Island, folks. I'm telling you, for most Canadians, the idea of coming to Fogo Island is like going to the edge of the earth. It was the 60s before you guys got electricity and plumbing. I'm not saying that you guys were behind the times, but when the Russians were putting a satellite in space, you guys were taking a candle to go for a poop. By the time you guys got paved roads, the moonwalk had happened. And I'm not talking Neil Armstrong, I'm talking Michael Jackson.
Hey, Roy. How are you?
I went out with Roy Dwyer here. You know, with all the history, he's written about 4 books on the place.
You wonder how people ever survived here.
Yeah, it's the oldest and most hospitable places on earth.
Yeah.
You look at the landscape, barrenness of the soil and the rocks. It wasn't the land that drew them here, it was the ocean.
Cod is in our blood, right? Like mercury.
And when that collapsed, people didn't know exactly what to do.
The cod moratorium in 1992 put 30,000 people out of work.
It's like someone pulling the rug out from under you. The whole economic system collapsed.
He said back in the day, you know, the school bus would be teeming with kids.
Nowadays, we're seeing a lot of half-empty school buses. Population is declining, no question.
Now you see the school bus, you gotta look twice to see if there's any kids on it at all. You could be driving behind that school bus for half an hour and no one give you the finger. The fishery here was able to make a lateral move from cod into shrimp and crab.
It's still the fishery that keeps Fogo hanging on, right?
Oh, yes, yeah. See, I mean, if there was no fishery, what would the tourists have to visit?
Fogo Island is making a serious play in the tourism sector, right?
They could be from Austria, they could be from Australia.
Yeah.
And they need someone to explain the culture.
So you're the host, you're like an interpreter for the island?
He is a professional storyteller. It says so right there on the side of his truck. How'd you hear about Roy? Well, I was looking to get some storytelling done, and he gave me a quote on a 10-stanza fishing poem. Then he'd throw in a free limerick. There once was a man from Tilting whose wife loved nothing but quilting. It's needle and thread that she loves in bed, and his poor old John Thomas is wilting. I could see how, for tourists, hearing about life in Fogo could be like stepping into another century.
Money was scarce. I don't know, I ever see a $10 bill.
Is that right?
Until I went to university. I left home, you know.
Is that right?
And Johnny, you want to come to my place?
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yes.
For many, a place where people can still live off what they fish and grow must be a bit of a curiosity.
I guess if you live in a city, you can't do that. And they said, do you mind if I take a picture of your clothes on the line?
Is that right?
And I'm, oh, okay, sure.
People love it when we hang the clothes on the line, don't they? I think there's a real opportunity there for Roy and Christine to get the tourists to do some of their chores. Call it experiential tourism. Yes, I'm hanging out the clothes now, my lover, and you can be next. And after that, you can unpack the dishwasher like a true Newfoundlander.
So why do you think people are so fascinated with seeing the simple life, the old way of life here in Fogo?
I think nostalgia. People are full of nostalgia, and there's no going back when you progress.
And progress on Fogo Island isn't just doing your laundry in a washer dryer. There's something bigger happening here, much bigger.
There's the Fogo Island Inn. It's your first sight of it?
Yeah.
The first sight of the inn.
Look at that.
They've gone from the Stone Age to the Space Age in one hotel, the Fogo Island Inn.
Thanks, Roy.
No problem.
Roy drove me up to the Fogo Island Inn. The architecture of the place is wild. It just looked like a beautiful stack of white shipping containers there on the rocks. And then it sort of looks like, who here watches Battlestar Galactica? Anybody? I never had a chance to meet Zita Cobb, but she's the one responsible for the inn. She's a Joe Bat's arm girl. We're raised without plumbing or electricity. She went away, became one of the wealthiest women in the country, built the hotel, and the proceeds from the hotel go back into the community. As far as I can tell, it's like a non-profit with room service.
Of course, you know, the project was really based on sourcing locally.
And Amanda Decker-Penton, she was showing me around.
So this is all available in IKEA, right?
Yeah.
You can get all this.
All made across the road. Our wood shop is across the road.
Unbelievable.
Anything that could be hand-built there was hand-built here, but all the materials they brought in from away has been done with a really high artistic, ethical, and environmental standard. So they ended up having to buy a bunch of wire down in the States, having it melted down and forged into nails and using those.
Custom-made nails.
Custom-made.
Which is funny because everything is finished so that you can't see a nail.
Absolutely.
I think if I went to that much trouble to get nails, I'd have them sticking out everywhere. Like, oh, geez, you gotta do some nails sticking out of the floor. Well, there's an interesting story behind that nail.
Cheers, Amanda.
Cheers.
The inn has given people a chance to stay in Fogo. Amanda and her family had been living out in Alberta.
So she was thrilled that she was able to find employment back here. She always wanted to raise her daughter as a Fogo Islander.
We really need to bring you back home and then make you, subject you to what you really are so that you'll be able to grow and know who you are.
Amanda eventually showed me one of the guest rooms.
A room like this one will be about $1,000 a night.
Wow.
Hourly rates run available.
All of the furniture, quilts, cushions, rugs, all done here.
You see this in lots of Newfoundland homes?
That's stuff that your grandparents were trying to ship off to the cabin because they could finally afford something from Sears. Do you know what I mean? Sort of reminded me of Nan's room. In fact, there's so much reminded me of Nan's, I apologize for not visiting enough. One object in the room that is certainly not vintage is the toilet.
The toilet has a remote?
Of course.
3 settings on the bidet. Send up some room service. I got my night all planned out here.
Everything okay, Johnny?
And I'm a Goldilocks. I like the middle setting. I like to...
Just give us a few minutes.
The first one is not quite enough. It's like a lawn sprinkler. The third setting, that'll take the salt off your truck.
Hope you didn't hurt yourself.
No, all good.
The Fogo Island Inn. Sleep under a quilt made by Nan. Have a poop in a toilet made by NASA.
In the hard times between the mid-50s and the mid-70s, the federal and provincial governments relocated over 300 isolated communities.
Back in the days of resettlement, the government urged the people of Fogo Island to leave, but they did not. And the government eventually said, if you stay, you're on your own. And the people of Fogo Island said, you promise?
We were here, we wanted to stay here, so all the people on Fogo Island got together and decided how they were going to approach this.
If I really wanted to understand how this island's been able to survive, I would have to speak with somebody at the fishery co-op. So I went and had a sit down with Perry Collins here. Perry Collins, everybody.
It seems to me that for people of Fogo Island to tell the government that they didn't want to relocate, I mean, there's a sort of spirit of self-reliance here, right?
Yes.
I mean, I see that in all areas.
Everybody in the province is competing for crab, everybody's competing for the shrimp, and in order for us to get our share of it, we really got to be competitive.
Yeah, it's a cod world out there.
It is, yeah.
The market for the shrimp and the crab is mostly going to Asia, right?
So did you have Japanese businessmen come in here to...
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, we've entertained.
Of course, they had to have translators, right? To translate from Fogo into English and English into Japanese. I think that's hilarious. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that meeting, right? Now, boys, I'm not too sure what that there fella from Japan is saying, because he talks kind of queer. I think he likes himself a drop of Fogo Island crab. Either that or I just sold me skidoo for $3 million.
Well, sea cucumber is a relatively new product. It's all going into China.
Is China eating the sea cucumber? Or?
How should I say?
You said they dry it and it gets crushed up and put in capsules and they take that. So why are they taking that?
I think they're doing a number of different things with it.
Like what, Perry? What are they doing with the sea cucumber?
Well,
Eventually, I got to the bottom of it. They take crushed up sea cucumber to improve erection. Now, does it work? I'm not sure, not yet. What time is it?
Like yesterday, it was sort of dark and foggy, and I just thought, my God, I would do anything to not go out on that water. What a hellish way to make a living.
there's other work out there where incomes are higher, but the people that's into the fishery now are dedicated fishermen. They're there not only to make a living, but they feel that it's part of
Their life.
Yeah.
The population of Fogo Island is not half what it was 40 years ago. There's trouble holding on to young people. So, how does Fogo Island keep on keeping on? Because I have found that Fogo Island has not only found a way to survive, but a way to keep many old traditions alive.
What's happening here on Fogo Island now is ensuring our survival.
I went over for a visit with the ladies at the Wind and Waves Artisan Guild.
These are the quilters, and they're very good at it.
Lillian is the president of the guild, and I tell you, she is so good at making rugs, I don't know where she finds the time for hooking. But
I'm the hooker of the group.
the tradition of quilting was born out of necessity. It was from a time when money was scarce. You could not afford waste.
Your patchwork quilts were made from used clothing. Your mother's dress, your father's shirt, your sister's blouse.
Woven literally into the fabric.
Exactly.
Which is really sweet, right? Until you wake up in the morning and realize you got your face smashed into the trapdoor of Poppy's Long John. You gotta pick it up and have a look at it then. Make sure your mother's 42 bra didn't make it.
They stopped hooking rugs when they started selling those canvas mats because it was a sign of poverty to only have these type of mats on their floor.
Yeah. I love how the old handmade stuff, the real good quality stuff, was like a sign of poverty back in the day.
The Fogo Island Inn commissioned hundreds of quilts, rugs, and handmade furniture. People had to relearn the old ways of doing this and rediscovered their culture in the process.
And then put this...
Okay, now pull it through. You done it.
Done it. I made my first quilt.
Now they sell for hundreds of dollars to people from all around the world.
Didn't I just undo what I just did?
No.
Like that?
So how much does something like this pay? Many worry the high-end inn might change Fogo, But Lillian says tourism didn't change them, it rooted them.
The most special part about it all is that we see some of our young people coming back home. There are jobs here, they're bringing their spouse with them, they're bringing their children with them.
I only hooked once before. It was before I had a steady TV job, and I needed them.
It's a great time for anybody to come here and visit Fogo Island when these old ways are not necessary for survival, but just can be appreciated. Do you know what I mean? Who hand builds their own boat anymore? Well, Aidan Penton is.
My father used to say, you're not a fisherman till you can float yourself.
You're not a real fisherman till you can float yourself, meaning until you can build your own boat.
The first settlers came here, this is what they used for everything. Most of them couldn't read and write, and that's what they brought with them. And that's how they built those boats out of those sticks.
Aidan showed me 3 sticks that are lashed together with varying degrees of curve at the end.
So this is the blueprint, basically, for
That's pretty well the blueprint. And you can take every different frame out of that boat from that blueprint there.
Like, they might not be able to read or write, but that's an astonishing level of intelligence. Do you know what I mean? Just taking that in the woods and be able to put together a seafaring vessel? When I wash all the pieces, I can't put together the coffee maker. And I got a degree. He doesn't steam or shape any of the planks.
Because you got to follow the curve, because you can't break that. It's impossible to break that. See, you follows the curve.
Which means he's got to go out into the woods and just look for these shapes in the trees.
That's called a breast hook. It's like a hook, eh?
Yeah, it's not much like a breast, though.
No.
But Aidan said that sometimes he'll be out looking for trees that grow out of the side of the cliff. And he said sometimes the trees talk to him. And they say, Aidan, get off the shrooms.
Every piece of wood in this boat got a name.
On the side of the punt, where the oar goes, there's a hole, and a pin goes in that hole.
A pin that hooks the oar hooks on is called a dildo.
It's called a dildo.
Aidan, where did the batteries go?
I don't know, I never had one.
Old ways were not simple at all. They were extremely difficult.
You see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Go on, keep on going.
I'm better at a French braid.
Build your own boat? If you do a poor job of it, you will die.
And when you get it finished, it's an accomplishment.
People come here, and even the people who are here can take a look at these things and just try to find, you know, some beauty in it, some comfort in it. There is some wisdom to it.
My father, he used to be always saying to me, you should never forget where you come from, you know. And so one day I said to him, why not forget where you come from? He said, because sometime, my son, you might have to go back there. I guess what he meant was the past is the future.
As the Fogo Island Inn leaves its mark on the landscape, I'm left wondering if, like with so many other places, tourism will change this little island.
Come on home, where the sea meets the sky. Come on home, no, where you will be free to roam. Come on home.
I was invited over to the Foley's for a shed party.
So tell me, what do people make of it? People who are here from all corners of the world staying at the inn, and they come over to the Foley's shed on a Saturday night, and what do they make of it?
I love it.
I saw people that night playing and dancing and singing. I saw people from older generations passing on traditional Newfoundland songs to younger generations. I saw a coffee maker that may have been the most lonely machine in the world.
Now, Jonny, that's on the rocks.
Okay, perfect, that's great.
And there's iceberg ice.
Iceberg ice?
Yes, sir.
Iceberg ice! I knew I tasted a hint of woolly mammoth. But that's how you know outsiders will never change Fogo. Their party has ice going back 1,000 years, songs going back 400 years, and dance moves that are, well, timeless.
Fogo is self-sufficient. You guys make your own boats, pick your own berries, fish and hunt your own food, make your own quilts to stay warm in the winter. I think if there's ever a zombie apocalypse, not if, but when, I'm coming to Fogo. And let's face it, not even the undead will line up for that ferry. Just before I came over to Parish Hall tonight, my mom called me for the first time since I got to Fogo Island. She said, Jonathan, how's it going in Fogo Island? I said, oh, Mom, it's great. I sailed the ferry from Farewell, hooked with some hookers, went blind in the shed, and had a taste of woolly mammoth at the edge of the earth. She said, Jonathan, what are you talking about? I said, Mom, I'm talking about Fogo Island. Thanks so much, everybody. You've been great. Fantastic.
We're Johnny's parents.
We're Johnny's parents.
And I'm the mother.
Oh, great laugh.
Yes.
Great laugh. She never stopped laughing. Oh, it's the most laugh I've never seen on since we got married.
Oh, you can expect some toilet humor in a comedy show? Sure.
Wonderful. Enjoyed it immensely.
Not long enough.
Funny weren't perfect.
I haven't laughed so hard in years.
He touched the pulse of Newfoundland, and he made it so funny.
To hear Johnny explain all the things that we are and all the things that we do, the punts, the quilts, and it was a good bit of fun.
This is Fogo Island, Newfoundland and Labradoodle.